So, what's next? Spider-Man: Far From Home is directed by Jon Watts. It stars Tom Holland, Samuel L. Jackson, Zendaya, and Jake Gyllenhaal. Far From Home takes place after the events of Endgame. The whole world is mourning the loss of our fallen Avengers. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Endgame, a few Avengers move on. And we see Peter Parker afraid to pick up the mantle that is expected of him to be the next Iron Man. In need of a break, he goes on a school trip with his friends to Europe. But of course, trouble's always around the corner, and there's these new beings attacking all of Europe called the Elementals. And there we meet Mysterio, who comes from a different universe, a multiverse if you will. They work together to stop the Elementals while Peter Parker tries to deal with the pressure of becoming the next Avenger. The charm of Spider-Man Homecoming was that it was just very small scale because Spider-Man was just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And the father-son mentorship between Tony Stark and Peter Parker was another great charm with a great chemistry between Downey Jr. and Tom Holland. While the action set pieces are a lot bigger and a lot more epic, Jon Watts keeps focus on what's true to the character. He's in high school. The best part of the film is the chemistry he has with his friend Ned, with MJ, who's now developing a love interest, if you will. Out like a little teenager, he tries to avoid Nick Fury from becoming the next Avenger and just being thrown in from mission to mission to mission. He just needs a break. He just wants to be a kid. What I can't get over is how extremely charming this film is. Zendaya, I don't know how you say it, but this girl is amazing. And the chemistry that she has with Tom Holland, you know, they barely really used her in the first one. And I think it's just because they want a little natural growth of this character. And it worked out in spades. Now she has a bigger presence in this movie and a little bit more of a relationship with Peter Parker that definitely grows throughout this movie. And I have to say that that's kind of the best part of this whole film. Peter Parker and MJ. These two actors together are just so sweet and cute that you just can't help but just enjoy every moment that they share on screen. We get a lot of jokes thrown in on this one. It's basically a high school comedy, just like the first one with, sprinkles of Spider-Man. And I think that it works more than it doesn't. We get more screen time with Martin Starr as their teacher. We get JB Smoove coming in and he adds a little bit more charm and adds a little bit more flavor to the mix. But I wish they had a little bit more space to riff, but that's just me. Nick Fury, this time around, he just puts the pressure on Spider-Man, and I feel like mostly he's there to just fill in the plot holes of how to get from point A to point B. But overall, Nick Fury's just there being Nick Fury and putting the pressure on Spider-Man just like he did on Iron Man 2 to Iron Man. Now, I don't really want to spoil so much out of this movie because there are some twists. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the character of Mysterio played by Jake Gyllenhaal here. For all the Spider-Man fans, I don't think it's much of a twist. I think that you have come to expect who Mysterio is. And I definitely will say that they did the character justice. They actually made Mysterio an extremely believable character. And just like the first one with Vulture, they made him extremely relatable. What I find interesting is that not only Peter Parker has to feel the pressure of picking up the mantle of Tony Stark and Iron Man, but especially with this movie and Homecoming, he has to basically deal with the consequences of Tony's choices in his past. If you watch the films, I'm not going to spoil anything, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Well, Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, he's great. These villains are just getting a lot better and better and better. I mean, Michael Keaton as Vulture was great. Josh Brolin as Thanos was amazing. Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger killed it. And Jake Gyllenhaal shows how basically he was natural to be this character. I mean, once upon a time, he was going to be Spider-Man in Spider-Man 2. So it's kind of interesting that now he's actually in a Spider-Man movie, but in a different sense or in a different character. The action scenes I thought were better than Homecoming. Jon Watts is definitely getting a great handle on the choreography of the action sequences. And there is a stunning action sequence with Mysterio in the middle of the film that just, it was the highlight for me in the movie. One of the big highlights for me in this movie. They really did Mysterio right with this movie, man. They really did him justice. I know a lot of people are saying that, but it's true. Now, do I like this movie better than Homecoming? I'm not sure. I think they're neck and neck. I think both of them have pros and cons. I really, really liked both villains, and I really, really, really liked the chemistry with Zendaya and Tom Holland in this one. And they give more room for growth for other characters like Happy Hogan, who now is kind of becoming the new mentor for Peter Parker, the new backbone for him, which is nice. And he has a little bit of a subplot where he's falling in love with Aunt May. Well, you know, Happy gotta get some love too, you know? But for another chapter in the MCU, it's another win, it's another victory. It's the closing of the Infinity Saga, which is more like an epilogue, if you will, to move on to the next big chapter, the next big saga. You know, where Spider-Man's going to be at this point and where are the other characters going to be placed. It's got a lot of room for growth, and those post-credit scenes are whoa. It's just going to leave a lot of people excited. So where do I put Spider-Man Far From Home? It's charming. It's a lot of fun. It's epic. No, I think that Spider-Man still is that low-key character in the MCU, and I like that they keep it that way. I think that that's great. I think that, you know, it's not no big epic Iron Man film or Captain America film or Civil War, if you will. You know, I think he is in the right place for the character. I think Tom Holland is the perfect Spider-Man still. You know, and I think that the chess moves are in play for something that's going to be very, very great in Phase 4. We'll have to see. Overall, I'm going to give Spider-Man Far From Home a solid 4 out of 5 stars. But once again, guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you see here, click like at the bottom. Did you like Far From Home? Is it better than Homecoming? Let me know. This is Ray from LiveWire. Once again, thanks for watching.